My name is Alexander William Robertson. I became the proud owner of this mansion back in 1887. I redecorated and changed the name of the house from Siliot Hill to Ontario. A few adjustments had to be made here and there, such as the addition of 15 more rooms to the property's existing 20. It just couldn't provide the space I needed to host all my lavish parties. Oh no, is that the time? My guests should be arriving shortly. Where's the French champagne?
My name is Stanley Sargent. I envision a grand redevelopment for this property known as Labassa. I want to convert the house into flats by June 1920. Despite Mr. and Mrs. Watson, the previous owners, auctioning off the majority of the land around the house, we still see great potential in the site. I can build a partition here, a kitchen over there, install some private bathrooms, and the Labassa will be a beautiful block of flats.
The 1920s to mid-1940s were a time of change and transition. My name is Emily Brearley, and I was employed as Labassa's caretaker, a role I would hold for 43 years. In the 30s, the Willis flats were built next to the old laundry. Its residents included the talented film star Louise Lovely. But by 1939, Europe was at war. It was a difficult time, with food shortages and the terror of a possible air raid at any moment. The residents of Labassa, including myself, formed a committee to raise funds for the Red Cross war effort, and a public fete was held on the grounds.
My family and I left Europe after the war. My parents took us to an unfamiliar place, a country called Australia. Labassa was our home. We lived up on the first floor with other Jewish people. Some were survivors of the Holocaust. The house was filled with children like me, and the tower was our favorite hangout. We would scare each other by telling stories about the tower being haunted, or that it was being used as a lookout for Nazi spies. Most of the land around the building was sold off, and a double-story house was also built at the front of the mansion.
My name is Peter Homewood, and I live here in the music room flat. After the passing of the caretaker in 1964, things got a little less controlled. We began to host a few more parties than usual, and Labassa became a hub for creatives, artists, filmmakers, musicians, directors. One night, some of my mates hauled a telegraph pole into the music room. They stuck one end in the fireplace and the other touched the back wall. It kept us warm for weeks. Now in 1970, the parties are still raging on, man. Labassa is known as a bit of a party house to locals.
My name is Jane, and I've been living across the road from Labassa since the 80s. The National Trust bought the property at a public auction in 1980. It's great that its beautiful heritage can now be preserved for years to come. I was lucky enough to see the demolition of the house that stood in the front driveway back in 1988. I get a beautiful view of the property every day now. Nowadays, I see weddings, film shoots, and all sorts of events happening at the mansion through my front window. And people from all walks of life learning about the rich history of the grandest house in Melbourne.